Hi guys, welcome to Ross's Rockshop. Today I'm going to do a little bit of a kind of how-to as to doing a string change on a Strat or any kind of strings through the body Strat type bridge. Super easy, it's nothing hard, nothing complicated. I'm a touring guitar tech for the most part. I've done this a lot. This way, the way I do things tends to keep the guitars in tune really well. There's nothing fancy, there's nothing complicated, there's no tying knots and strings, there's no fancy wraps. This way, providing you stretch your strings a little bit, your guitar will be absolutely fine. So, without any further ado, we're going to get all the strings off, which is not hard at all. Some folk don't like doing all the strings at once. I've done it a lot. It doesn't affect the neck. Now, if you're going to take all the strings off and you're going to leave them off for any length of time, then there'll be a problem. You just snip these in the middle, undo the strings up here. We will tie these, just wrap them over themselves so they don't stab us in the fingers. Then we'll just push these guys back through the body, like that. And we'll do the same thing, and just wrap these up so what they don't stab you in the finger. So, the strings are off. We're going to clean the fingerboard, we're going to oil the fingerboard. What I tend to use for oiling the fingerboard is just this Dunlop lemon oil. I don't actually think it's Dunlop lemon oil in this, if I'm honest. This is just the brush kind of scenario on the top of this is great, so I tend to fill it back up with various other lemon oils. And then we're going to spread it around. Now, you're not trying to pickle this thing, you know, a little bit, that's quite a lot, but this board hasn't had any oil on it in quite a while, so I'm not too worried about that. But typically you're not trying to pickle the guitar, you're just trying to add a bit more oil back into things, and then we're just going to wipe off the excess. Do it up here as well. You want to get an eye down the board and see what it's like. That was quite a lot of oil. Give it a little clean. Right, so the fingerboard is oiled. Now I'm going to polish the frets. Typically what I'll do is I'll oil the board first, that way the board has some kind of protection while you're cleaning the frets. What I typically use to clean frets is this stuff. This is Autosol metal polish, and just one of these guys, which you can get from Stu Mac. You can get them on eBay. They're called fret guards. Get them in different sizes, different like widths. Get them in longer ones for basses and stuff. This one fits on this fine. I'm going to take a cloth. Put a little bit of Autosol on the cloth, and when I say a little bit, I mean it. Like, that is all you need for them. You know, it doesn't take a lot. And then hopefully either this guy or this camera over here is picking this up. Just going to go over the fret, buff it. We want to try and not keep hitting the neck rest. Now you want to try and keep the neck rest roughly where you're working, so you're not putting too much tension or too much pressure on the neck joint. This could do with a little bit more, but again, the little bit more is that much. Just work our way down the board. And then typically I'll just buff these last couple out like that. Then when you've done that, take this is a Planet Waves D'Addario cloth. It's super fine microfiber, and you just buff. Like, you really buff, and there you go. You have a lot of little mirrors now. They're great. So, put those back there. What we'll do now is we'll just check the machine heads, make sure they're nice and tight. Again, with most things on a guitar, you're not putting the lug nuts back on your wheel or try to put, you know, the head bolts on your engine. You just want to snug it up and make sure it's nice and tight, but not singing tight. And we're just going to tighten the keys. That one needed it. This one needed it. There we go. Right, so fingerboard is oiled, frets are cleaned, given any of the bits that we can't really get to with the strings on, you know, underneath the pickups and the bottom of the bridge. We've given that a little bit of a clean. The rest of it you can of course do with the strings on it, but there's just a few parts that are a bit trickier when the strings are on. Now what we're going to do is we're going to line up the holes in the peg posts. We're going to have them going pretty much down in a line with the fingerboard. Let's do this by. This is fast way. This is just going to make things a little bit easier when it comes to putting strings on in a minute. On this guy, we're using elixirs. Down here, will it? Muppet. Right, and then now we're going to feed the strings through the body. I have already taken the back plate off of this guy to make this next step a little bit faster. You can do it with the back plate still on. I just can't be well dealing with that. So when you're unwrapping these things, you don't want to be reefing them apart. It's just a little gentle pull and you'll be fine. If there's anything heavier than that and you'll put a bit of a kink in the string and potentially cause it to snap. And if you've just bought a brand new set of strings, especially a brand new set of elixirs, you don't want your strings to snap. Right, okay. You come on. Give. There we go. You can just gently undo them and push them through. Very gently, especially with these finer strings. So easy to put a little kink in that causes you headaches down the line. Because of course, it's not going to break right now. It's going to break when you're on stage in the middle of your solo. And the last thing you want during a look at me moment is having a broken string. So, now we are going to put strings to the head, to the peg posts. We're going to gently pull the string up the way. That just ensures that it's seated at the back of the block and the ball doesn't caught on the bottom and you end up with a load of excess string. Right, so here's the bit people seem to have some trouble with. How much string do I have wrapped around the post? And how do I do it? What I'll typically do is I'll pull the string straight through so it's, you know, it's somewhat taut. Then I'll just pinch it at the nut and I'll pull it back 1 fret. Then I'll just put a bit of down pressure on it to stop it sliding anywhere and wrap it. Make sure the string, the excess string goes over the top. Like that. And you should have just about a perfect 2.5 wraps. Do it again, slide it through the peg post, grip it at the nut, pull it back 1 fret, the peg winder on, and you're up. Just like that. Now for your D and G strings, especially on this guitar where there isn't a string tree for those two strings, I'll probably do 1.5 frets for those, just so there's a little bit of extra tension pulling down at the back of the nut. It stops any kind of buzzes. So wrap that up. There we go. These posts aren't very high actually. That may be a bit much. We'll go for 1 fret on this. Let's see. How does that look? Much better. Again, we're just... That's calling something up. That's what it is. We will slide the string through. Now on these ones, because there is a string tree, as the strings get into tension, slide it under the tree. Come on. There you go. Again, pull it through, somewhat taut, pinch it at the nut, pull it back. Now there are like loads of different over-under wraps and Z wraps and this kind of wrap and bubble wrap and gift wrap and everything, but honestly I've never really found the need for them unless you are a very specific player that does a very specific thing that makes the strings go out of tune a lot. But for your bog standard guitarist, this, I've done it this way for 10 plus years on hundreds of guitars and little to no problems. So now what we're going to do, we'll just quickly tune it up to tension. Wow, I really overshot it with these ones. Holy wow. There we go. So that's the strings up at pitch, roughly. They're in the ballpark. And then we're just going to go through and snip off the strings as close to the peg post as you can. Unless you like getting stabbed in the hand by ends of strings. Personally speaking, I'm not too keen on it. So, we've got the strings on, we're roughly at tension. What we're going to do is we're going to stretch them now. This is the really important part. This is the part that's going to stop your strings going out of tune. So, if I turn the amp on, turn it down a little bit. I'm pretty sure you can hear that. So this string is pretty much bang on E right now, right? What we're going to do is we're going to hold it roughly around the nut. Some people put their kind of fret, the first fret, so you're not doing too much damage to the nut or too much tension on it or pulling on it. That's a good idea. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But we're going to grab the string with 3 fingers and your thumb up here, push down with your thumb and gently pull up with your 3 fingers. You're just going to walk up and down the string 2 or 3 times. And then check the tuning again. That's went quite flat, and then we'll do that one more. That's closer. Right, okay, and then we just do the same thing with all of the strings. 3 fingers underneath, thumb on top, push down with your thumb, pull up with your fingers. You'll notice some strings potentially go more out of tune than others. And we'll just do it again. I'll typically do this 2 or 3 times. And when you're doing it, you don't have to do it to all 6 strings all the time. For instance, the B string here isn't really going to attune, so I might just leave that alone. And I've done the E string a lot, so I'll just go from the G string up. Turn that off so you're not. That's just about bang in tune. Now what we're going to do, we're going to take some of this stuff. It's called Lubricate by Planet Waves. Big Ben's make one called Big Ben's Nut Sauce. There's a few companies make it now. Guitar Grease by Stu Mac, that also works. Pencil Lead works fine as well. This is what I use, this is what I have. We're going to just put a little tiny bit, and when I say a little tiny bit, try and do it this way so the camera up here can see. A little tiny bit, like a tiny dab. Tiny dab in the nut slot. Does not need much. This is one of those occasions where a little dab will do you, and a big gob will screw you. Like that, right? And then we just wipe off any excess, and then you don't need to hear the amp. Check the tuning again. Of course, this is all on the bench, in the bench position. You want to check your tuning and everything in the playing position, but just for the sake of getting strings on it and getting it roughly to pitch, this will do it, and then we'll just go through with harmonics. There we go. And because I'm left-handed, I'll do it upside down. There you go. That is how you change the strings on a Strat. So I change the strings on a Strat. Give it a shot. Try it. If there's anything you guys do, please leave it in the comments below. If there's something that I've done wrong that you think, oh no, you should be doing this, please leave it in the comments, and hopefully I'll get around to reading them. Righto. Bye.